Okay, don't judge me for wearing a sweater in the middle of August. She's feeling a little depressy right now. So you know what? It's cozy comfort time. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a cozy sit down video. We're gonna be talking about my August TBR today and all the books that I wanna read in August. So if you haven't seen my most recent videos, she's going through it, okay? And I am off of work for the next couple months to take care of myself. And while I am not feeling the best, like mentally or physically, I know I'm going to be reading because reading is one of these things in life that brings me so much unbridled joy. And I am really looking forward to just taking some time to slow down and read some books that are speaking to my soul right now. So I'm really looking forward to sharing these books that I am interested in reading right now with you. I really genuinely have like two moods. One mood, grief and existential crisis. The other mood, escapism, fantasy romance. It's one or the other right now. Okay, so those are the themes of the books that I'm going to be chatting about. Let's start off with some fun fantasy romance because there is something stirring down deep in my soul. The time has come to complete this series, and that is Iron Flame and Onyx Storm. Okay, I've read Fourth Wing, the first one, twice, and I've been putting these books off for many a year. Okay. My original plan was to try and read Iron Flame before I read Onyx Storm, but guess what? That never happened. And then once Onyx Storm came out, somehow I just got distracted and never read either of these books. But now is the time, okay? This is the only fantasy book that I'm interested in reading at the moment. I have a couple others that I'm interested that are on the back burner. Like I want to continue on in the realm of the Elderlings, like Assassin's Apprentice trilogy. And then I also do want to continue on with my Cosmere reread too. But these two books are the ones that I genuinely want to get to the most. I don't feel like I have to explain these to anyone. They are some of the most popular fantasy romance books on the internet, and I have been dying to read them for so long and just have never felt like it's the right time. But now that I'm going through it, I need a little bit of escapism, and now is the time, you know? So that is for sure gonna happen, and I'm definitely gonna do a vlog where I'm reading those because I know these are gonna fill a little bit of my soul cup, and I'm excited and really, really looking forward to getting to those ones. Next fantasy book that I'm interested in reading, I'm actually leaning a lot towards comfort reads and just reads that really bring me a lot of like joy and like, you know, that feeling of when you first started reading when you were younger and you found fantasy or you found whatever your favorite genre is and you're just like, this is the best thing in the entire world. That's the feeling I'm seeking right now. And I know one of the books that is going to definitely be able to give me that feeling again is Silverborn, which is the fourth installment in the Morrigan Crow series. If you've never read this series and are looking for books that make you feel that nostalgia that you had when you read fantasy books when you were younger or when you first started reading chapter books, like these books just do it for me. This is a middle grade fantasy series, and it's all about this young 11-year-old girl named Morrigan Crow who was destined to die on her 11th birthday. However, she gets whisked away to like this little magical land called Nevermore, and she realizes she has these powers, and then she goes to this magical school, and it's just like literally, if I could tell you right now, I have like a blooming flower in my chest even just thinking about these books. They bring me so much joy, and I just feel like I'm a kid again whenever I read this series. And this book just came out, I think last month or 2 months ago, and I've been waiting for the fourth book in this series for years. So I know I'm going to get to this soon, and I cannot wait. I think it's just going to bring out the inner child, and I am seeking anything that brings out my inner child right now. So I can't wait for this one. All right, next up is not a fantasy book, but one book that I've really been interested in because it just was released this summer, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually started this book and I got about 75 pages into it, but then my life blew up and I didn't continue on. So I don't know how I'm going to feel reading this book again, especially because, you know, it might feel a little triggering, I guess, not in the content of the book, but just like the surroundings that I started to read the book in. Do you know what I mean? Briefly, Atmosphere is Taylor Jenkins Reid's most recent historical fiction, which is about a NASA astronaut. There is a love story that forms in this book. You are following our main character, Joan. She's kind of an introvert, but she works her way up through the ranks at NASA and becomes part of like a really big team there. And it talks about space. It talks about the wonder of space and like, you know, really getting into this like existentialist time in my life. Space is something that I have always found unbelievably fascinating, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading this book. Just kind of dive into that area that I am so interested in. I love Project Hail Mary. That is one of my favorite books ever, and just anything that has to do with sci-fi space stuff, I just absolutely fall for. So I know I'm probably going to give this a 5 stars if I can find the emotional space to read it at this time. All right, now we're going to get a little bit more deep in terms of some books that I'm reading to really try and help me through my mental health right now and the grieving process. Again, if you want more context surrounding what I'm going through right now, I would encourage you to watch my most recent reading vlogs. I can leave them linked down below. But the first kind of category that I'm going to talk about in terms of like grief books that I'm reading right now is like a fiction category. First one is The Measure by Nikki Erlich. This is kind of like a dystopian type of book, but essentially the premise of the book is that all of a sudden everyone in the world wakes up and you have a slip of paper or something and it tells you how long you have to live. So everyone is confronted with their mortality all on the same day. And I think you follow a handful of different perspectives as they try and navigate their mortality and navigate whether or not they want to reveal how long they have to live. I've heard this book is pretty quick read. I think it gives a lot of food for thought and really helps us kind of like face our mortality. I mean, mortality is an aspect of life. Literally, we all are going to face it at one point or another, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. And I think this book kind of like explores that concept a little bit. And I'm really, really looking forward to reading this and trying to contemplate these ideas. Cannot wait to get to this one. I think it's going to be profound and just give me some great things to think about. So the next book that I want to read that deals with grief as a topic is Ruth Ozecki's The Book of Form and Emptiness. This book is about a young boy who lost his father a year before this book begins. And throughout the entire book, the boy begins to, I don't know if it's he hears voices or he's just kind of getting like signs from the afterlife or just signs in general of ways for him to help like cope with what he's going through. Not really like 100% sure on like the entire concept. I know this book talks about grief and, you know, children going through grief as well. And the way that this has been described to me is that this author really knows how to describe grief very well and kind of like take you through the process of grief. And this book is just all about grief in general. So it could be tough to read at times and it might not be, you know, as intriguing as The Measure is. But I think that this is going to be one that I can sit with and, you know, really process and try and help myself understand, you know, the feelings that I'm going through right now. So can't wait to get to this one too. I think this is going to be a heavy hitter. All right, next up, I have 2 kind of like nonfiction self-help-ish books that I'm interested in reading. I have been really, really into spirituality and self-transformation books throughout the past couple months. And I just feel like they are giving me a lot of clarity for this time that I'm going through right now. And one of the ones that I would like to read up next is actually called The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. Weist? I am actually reading a devotional book that she has every day, which is called The Pivot Year. So this book has 365 like little quotes in here about how to change your life in a year and like motivational quotes, I guess, if you are going through a period of change in your life. I actually picked this book up at the beginning of the year and I never actually started reading it until now. And literally it's crazy. I will sit down with this book every day, flip open to a random page, read a random passage in it, and it always seems to hit with whatever I'm feeling on the day. So this book has been truly pivotal in my kind of like existential journey so far. But The Mountain Is You is a book about how to overcome self-sabotaging, how to overcome fear, and become the best version of you that you can be. I definitely suffer with self-sabotaging. I do it all the time, and only recently have I actually confronted that I do this in my life. So I'm really looking forward to reading The Mountain Is You and trying to like actually take a deep dive into my own behaviors and how I can stop getting in my own way. And then the last book that I'm really interested in reading in the upcoming month is a very, very heavy one, okay? And that is called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. He's like a psychiatrist, psychologist, something along those lines, but he focuses specifically on trauma. and how trauma is actually physically held in our bodies. It's not just an experience of the mind and something that we go through. Like, trauma is physically held in us, and it discusses ways that we can understand it coming from like a scientific perspective of how trauma actually manifests in our bodies and how we can work through and release the trauma that is held in our body. You know, this is a very heavy subject. This is a very touchy subject. And, you know, I know that this could be really vulnerable to talk about right now, but as someone who has experienced trauma in her life, it's hard to even get to the starting line of beginning to deal with trauma. And, you know, I am really trying to work through, you know, things and experiences I have been in my life. And this book has been sitting on my bookshelf for maybe 3 or 4 years, just waiting for me to have the right time to read it. And that time is now. So I know this is going to be another really heavy read. I know it's going to take a lot of introspection, and I'm probably going to be really emotional at times reading this, but I know this is a journey that I have to go on because I want to become a better version of myself. And I know that deep diving into who I am as an individual and the things that I've experienced in my life, that work needs to happen. So I know this is going to be a big time of self-discovery, and I think that this book is going to really help me propel myself into doing so. I know this might be really heavy if you are just watching this as like a fun little cute TBR, but like, you know what? We go through shit in life. We really do. And I feel like I don't want to hide the fact that I'm going through tough stuff right now. Everyone has something, and I don't think that we acknowledge that enough in our society. So I am trying to show you all that it's okay to talk about this stuff, and it's okay to feel vulnerable at times. So I hope that, you know, maybe you have found some books that you are looking forward to reading, or you are interested in me reading. Please let me know if you're interested in any vlogs in these. I know I'm for sure going to be doing an Iron Flame one. If you want other more, you know, vlogs where I'm talking about this stuff, I would be more than happy to do so. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a sunshine emoji down below because it's August and summer and salt air on the rust on your door, you know? So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you in my next video. Peace and love, everyone. Bye.